When you do a restoration, you want to do a restoration of something that is disgusting. So when I bought this, Mrs. said, "What the bloody hell have you bought now?" Well, basically, something to restore, I said. Well, when she saw it, "What the bloody hell's that?" she said. What she doesn't realise is that it is a restoration project, and only people that do restorations will know the pleasure that having something this horrendous looking can really be. This has obviously had a hard life, but I want to bring it back to life. I want it singing its heart out and making somebody pleased to own it. Because if you look, it is horrendous. Most of it's seized, naturally. So, yeah, we're going to have a look, see how we get on.
A few moments later. A few moments later.
So there it is, after a bit of a soaking of about a week in fluid and a little bit of a clean off with a brush, toothbrush and that. Now we're in a position where we've got rid of a lot of the corrosion. A lot of corrosion has disappeared. All this was on there, you can still feel the corrosion, but you know, a lot of it has gone. So it's quite good. So what we're going to do now is strip it down. I mean, look in there, look, that's quite clean in there. That's quite nice. That's quite, come out quite well, that. So just a soaking. So what we're going to do now, we're going to carefully strip it down and see what happens. See what we find. Wow, no needle. Interesting, eh? Right, so the next thing, how to get these screws off, because these screws are going to be keen tight. There's only one way to do that, and I'll show you how. Up it. So first, set the carburetor up in a vise. Notice I've used cardboard to make sure that the flanges aren't damaged by the vice jaws. It's got to be done up tight, because the only way to get these undone is you're going to have to heat them up, get them really hot, and then undo them very gently and very carefully. So get yourself set up, you're going to heat it up. Then we're going to get a nice screwdriver with a hexagon on the end that you can put a set of mole grips on. Then I'm going to put that in there once it's heated up and use the mole grips to turn the screw. Seems a bit archaic, but I tell you mate, it works. So now, heat it up. Now, fit the screwdriver and just pull on the mole grips nice and gently. This one's coming out easy. I'm not used to them coming out this easy. Normally meant to be a bit of a pig. Do that with all four and then see what happens. There you go. Taking the last screw out now. There you go. Now lift that up gently. There you go. So now got to undo that, take that out, undo the side bolt, take the float out, and then let's have a look, see what the float chamber's like. It's not too bad. That's all hot from the heater. Shit assembly, needle valve. Fairly clean in there actually. So I'm going to whip that out, pull that out, and then get it out of the vise. Little playing with the heat to get rid of the choke mechanism there. That all comes off quite nicely. Unbelievably, this carburetor's coming apart a lot easier than what I thought. We've got to get rid of that lift pin there. Look, that looks nicely corroded in. Got to get rid of the bell mouth, and then any other little bits and pieces to be removed before we can put it into the bead blaster. Then after a little while, the carburetor is stripped. All the little tiny bits and pieces laid out. Everything came apart okay, which was quite surprising when you consider how corroded and horrendous this car was to start with. And then everything's laid out now for immediate investigation, polishing things up, replacing things. I mean, this carb actually doesn't look in bad nick. It looks as if it's had a fairly sort of like easy life before it became unemployed. So what I've got to do really, I mean basically this is just a restoration project to get it back to good condition so that I can, you know, say that I've actually restored it so it becomes something that is nice to look at and can do a job. So yeah, so there it is. So the next stage now is to clean everything up. So the body is going into the bead blaster. That'll be the first thing. Then I shall build everything up from there. Well, there you go, that's the finished result, having been through the bead blaster. It's got rid of all the rubbish and all the crap and all that. Obviously I've kept the beads out of the internal parts of the carburetor for obvious reasons. Now what I've got to do now is put it into the ultrasonic cleaner to give it a real good clean up inside and out, and then we'll put it in the alley brightener, see what it looks like then. So here we are then, after it's been through the alley brightener. It's come out quite well, I think. So what we've got to do now, look, there's the end cover, new bolts. We're gradually getting everything done. There's a kit there, new throttle flap, spindle. Got a few bits still to do. There's the bits that are going to be plated. They're all going to be going on. I'm going to get them plated tomorrow. And then basically then I've got another needle, look, a BBW needle, which is the correct needle for this application. And yeah, then what we can do then is start assembling. So I installed the float. Now to check the float height, what you do is you put a straight edge across there, and then you have to see the gap between the straight edge and the bottom of the float at the lowest point of that radius. It should be about 1 mil. That's essential. Once you've got that, this one was miles out. Once you've got that, then you can install the jet. Install the jet so it's nicely held in position by the jet holder. Using this screw on the side, you have to adjust the jet height. Install the gasket, new gasket on the end cover, and then fit the end cover to the float chamber and do it up, in this case with the new screws. So now fit the choke mechanism into this hole here. You've got a little gasket, the mechanism here with a new rubber O-ring on it, the actual choke lever assembly. Now this is quite tight to get in there. There's a little cutout there which must match that hole there, that screw hole. So we nice and gently push that into position, getting it all aligned first naturally, and then push it in. Once in position, retain with this little bracket here, which has got the retainers for the throttle spring. Fit new. Then put the oil seal on the end, followed by the little cover, and then lock it up. So you fit this bracket and the nut, spring, everything. So now that is now fully operational. That is the choke mechanism in perfect condition, perfect working order. New seals and working perfectly. Now we're going to fit the spindle and the butterfly together with the seals. You get new seals in the kit for the spindle, and then put the lever arm on and then sort all that out. Just nip the screws up, don't do them up, just do them up until they've stopped turning, so they're a nip. They've just nipped, and then once they've nipped, then centralise the plate. Make sure that the plate is centralised. Now you hold it up to the light and you look through to make sure it's centralised. When it's centralised, and only when it's centralised, do you then do the screws up tight. So spend a bit of time playing around with that. I hold mine up to the sun, and then you can see all the way around the edge if there's any light getting in. Sometimes you get light getting in one side but not the other. Well, then you have to keep tapping the butterfly until you don't get any light around any of it. And do that with the screws, not loose but not tight, just so they've nipped it, so that when it does get into the correct position you can nip it up fully and it will be tight. That is a really important part of building these carburetors up. That butterfly must be in the centre, must, and it must be centralised, because that way then you get good throttle response. So now we can fit the seals. This carburetor has seals on the spindle, which help to prevent air being sucked in. So even if the bushes are perfect, like they are on this particular car, these seals just give you that extra little bit of security. So, and then finally, you've got the seals in position. The butterfly's all centered up, new screws, everything's fine. So the next thing now is to assemble the bell crank onto the end. And then when that bell crank's built up, look, with the little spring, everything's in order. Then finally, once the needle's in position, the piston's fitted, the only thing left to do then is, with the polished dashpot, put the polished dashpot into position, make sure it's working properly, install, yep, fit all those screws, and then finally you've got a carburetor there that looks nice and can be used. Fit the damper. Obviously no oil at the minute. You don't use oil until you got it on the car ready to start using it. So there you go.